Hello there.
And welcome to my review for the LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. I remember LEGO Star Wars the video game on the Xbox, a great game that allowed me to live through the entire prequel trilogy. So I'm sure this updated game is going to be the same thing except better, with the entire Star Wars saga. Oh. Okay. Alright, chasing Zim Wessel. Oh. Okay. Okay, so what's my point? My point is LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is just okay. Maybe if I hadn't experienced the greatness of the original, I would have had a higher opinion of this game. But I did, so I don't. There are good aspects of the game though, like the beginning cinematic.
Breathe. Now, reach out.
This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight.
The opening scene is pretty awesome with all the characters. Let's start with the story mode. You load into a menu where you can find animated builds of the scenes from the movies they're from, which is really cool. I started at episode 1, but you can also start from episode 4 and 7. You start with the Star Wars crawl, which I love. It definitely makes me feel like I'm playing the Star Wars game. After, you see the classic Republic cruiser. The cutscenes are nicely done and fit well in a LEGO game. The graphics are also amazing in this game, and is what I would expect from a new LEGO Star Wars game. The tutorials are pretty good and allow you to learn the game pretty well. I also like how you can control ships now instead of almost exclusively cutscenes. So after a couple of tutorials, you encounter your first enemies where they teach you how to go ham with fighting combos. This allows you to do some more fluid fights and looks pretty cool. I think this is one of the best things brought to this game. Now here's my first big problem, which I'll get into later because it'll be more apparent. But in the movie, you try to get the Viceroy, and it's a very cool moment and introduces the destroyers. But you just see them and fight. No big moment. They just change the story so you do things at different times. Anyways, you sneak onto MTT and fly to Naboo. You save and meet Jar Jar and don't have to navigate through all the battle droids invading or figure out where to go to get to the Gungan city. You just get there. But you know, it's not the worst thing. After you enter the Gungan city and mind trick Boss Nass, you get into the Gungan sub and run away from the big gooperfish. After, you run to protect Queen Amidala and escort her to her ship where you escape and land on Tatooine to find parts. And there's a Bantha. I take back everything that I said. This is awesome. After, you run into Watto and try to buy parts. Little Annie enters you into the pod race where nothing exciting happens. Sure, a rock explodes every once in a while, but since you have unlimited lives, there's no stakes. You aren't going to restart the level if you die, you're just going to respawn and do it again. This is actually a problem for all the levels, not just this one. Every cool thing that you do has no impact because you're just being pushed along, rather than you pushing towards your goal. After that, you run into Darth Maul and escape to Coruscant with your galaxy map. This map gets pretty cool when you have all planets unlocked, and rather than just a loading screen, you go into hyperspeed, which is amazing. You land on Coruscant and walk for a long time to Senator Palpatine's office. After, you go to the Senate, and then back to Naboo, where you make friends with the Gungans, and while they prepare to fight the battle droids, you go to fight Darth Maul. You fight using the cool fight combos, and you can throw your lightsaber, which is pretty effective. You can do these lightsaber holds and fights, which is awesome, and so you defeat Darth Maul with Qui-Gon still alive, which he dies in the next cutscene. And there's no cool fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, no time where Obi-Wan gets knocked off and has to use the Force to win. Instead, we get to basketball dunk Darth Maul's head. So now you fight the droids with the Gungans, and it's pretty cool. But the greatest thing about this episode is probably the fight between the Naboo Starfighters and the Trade Federation. The space battle is really cool, and the only thing that is holding it back is that you have unlimited lives, so there's no stakes. And that is episode 1 of Star Wars done. You then unlock the second episode, where you do another walking mission, and then you chase Zam Wessel. Since the terrain is so large, it feels like you're moving so slow because you have nothing to gauge how fast you're moving. Even when you are with other people, And a small background, you don't seem to be going that fast past the cars. After you capture Zam Wessel, Jango Fett doesn't kill her, and lowers more stakes. Now you might be saying, oh, it's a kid's game, you can't have people die, like Qui-Gon Jinn. Also, what kid is playing this game before seeing the movies first? I would really hope that this video game isn't their first experience into the Star Wars world, and that they saw the movies first. Anyways, you go to Dexter's Diner and then to Camino and fight Jango Fett. After you do that, you fight him again in his ship, and then you follow him to Geonosis. Now we go to Anakin, where he has premonitions of his mother dying, and goes to Tatooine with Padme. Then they go to Geonosis, where they spend so much time during the droid factory level. After they get captured, the Senate makes Palpatine Chancellor, and we go to the Geonosis Arena, where we fight the Dree animals, and then all of the droids. Wait, we don't fight the droids? Well, you barely fight any droids, and I went out of my way to when I was supposed to be fighting Jango Fett. But I did not fight nearly as much as I wanted. I would have gladly cut the droid factory level in half to fight more than one person in the Geonosis arena. So after you defeat Jango, who doesn't die, guess in this universe there's no Boba Fett. Anyways, after that, you fight Count Dooku, which was fun, but would have been more if we had 3 lives. And then episode 2 is done. Episode 3 starts with this awesome cinematic, and I was so excited to fight out there with the buzz. Oh, wait, we don't fight? It's just a cutscene? I also like how you can control ships now instead of almost exclusively cutscenes. I just complimented this game on not having all the ship scenes be cutscenes, and that really sucks. But you go through the ship to rescue the Chancellor from Dooku again. There was a lot of glitches in that fight. But after that, you don't try and navigate a rotating ship that's flipping and carrying the passed out Obi-Wan. Nope. He never passed out. You chase Grievous and land the ship on Coruscant in one big cutscene. And then you go to Utapau to fight General Grievous.
Hello there.
Which is pretty much just chasing him around and fighting occasionally. Then you don't chase him on his wheel bike, you just defeat him. After that, Anakin finds out Palpatine is a Sith Lord, you go and confront him and die. You do cutscenes for the most important parts and walk for the actual gameplay. Yay! After, you go to Kashyyyk and fight through Order 66. After you fight the Emperor, which is pretty cool. So after that, you fight Sith Anakin, and I make the obligatory I have the high ground joke. You watch a couple of cutscenes, and you have finished the prequel trilogy. Now the start of the original trilogy. We go to episode 4 and try to get the Death Star plans off the Tantive 4. Then the droids get bought by Luke, and he takes them to Ben Kenobi and comes back to stormtroopers raiding his house. He then goes to Mos Eisley Cantina, where he meets Han Solo and Chewbacca. They all go to the Millennium Falcon and have to defend it while Chewie fixes it. Then they go to the Death Star and rescue Princess Leia and get out. Well, almost all of them. You then prepare for the Death Star battle, which is pretty cool, except the Millennium Falcon arrives in the middle of the battle. Instead of heroically saving the day, it's just there. Overall, this episode was really good, except for the ending and the unlimited lives that encompass all of the episodes. Episode 5, you start by trying to find Luke. After that, you fight the AT-STs and the AT-ATs. This was awesome, and hooking the legs of the AT-ATs and exploding them after was amazing. After that, you run away from the Empire in the Falcon and hide in the giant worm. After that, you find Yoda and have him train you. Back to the Falcon, you escape from the worm and head to Bespin, where you're ambushed. Han and Carbonite, and Luke arrives. He fights Darth Vader and tells you the twist, and the episode was doing so good. But R2-D2 comes running, falls off, and Luke comes after him. Instead of showing Luke would rather die than fall to the dark side, he just chases the droid. After that, you get out with Leia and move on to episode 6. You start by trying to get Han Solo out of Jabba's palace and fail. Luke comes and falls into the Rancor pit. After he defeats him, he and the rest get to the Sarlacc pit and fight Jabba and Boba Fett. The Jabba fight is a bit boring, and I wish it was just 1 stage instead of 3. I just spent most of the time trying to loop the chain around his neck like in the movie. After that, they go to Endor and try to shut off the shields to the Death Star 2 with the help of the Ewoks. We then go to the spear chase, and it's a little glitchy, and we're not really going fast enough to barely avoid the trees. You then fight as Wicket with other Ewoks, and there's no log slams into the AT-ST at all. The most famous scene from that battle is absent. After that, Luke goes to fight the Emperor and turn Vader. He does, but instead of the original way, they set it up for a big final battle. And now for the sequel trilogy. Oh hey, that's the look I had rewatching this trilogy. You start as Poe, almost escape, don't. BB-8 finds Rey, Poe and Finn escape, almost. The torso as the jacket is pretty funny. Rey fights with Finn and escapes flying the Millennium Falcon. The Falcon gets caught by Han and Chewie, but they are encountered by two Gains. Rey and Finn release the Raptors, and they all have to escape from them. We then go to Takodana, where Rey wanders off to find Luke Skywalker's lightsaber and sees visions. Goes away to find the First Order has invaded and gets captured by Kylo Ren. Han Solo, Chewie, BB-8, and Finn go to the Rebel base and then break into Starkiller base to deactivate the shields and rescue Rey. Rey breaks out and meets them, and then they place bombs in the base, and Kylo kills Han. The Resistance goes into the Starkiller base and attacks, then Finn, Rey, and Kylo Ren have the final fight, and finally she meets Luke. End of Episode 7. Start of Episode 8. Poe leads the Resistance against the Dreadnought, then they escape through hyperspeed, and the First Order tracks them and follows. Finn, Poe, and Rose all try to figure out how to get onto Snoke's destroyer. They go to Canterblight, where they try to find the Codebreaker. They find one, and Rey walks away with Luke. Luke is finally convinced to train Rey, and Rey goes to Kylo on Snoke's destroyer. Kylo kills Snoke, and Rey and Kylo fight the Praetorian Guards. After Finn, Rose, and the Codebreaker DJ go to the destroyer, and DJ betrays them. Then they fight Captain Phasma and leave the destroyer. They arrive on Crate and fight back against the First Order. The force projection of Luke fights Kylo, and the Resistance leaves with the help of Rey. End of Episode 8. Start of Episode 9. Kylo finds the Emperor, and Finn, Poe, and Chewie, and BB-8 get information and escape the TIE Fighters chasing them. Rey does some Jedi training and meets up with the others. They go to Passana and fight Stormtroopers and find the clue to the Sith Wayfinder they need. They go to Kichimi and find a droid smith to translate the Sith writings. Then they went onto the destroyer that has Chewie, who was captured earlier. They then go to the Death Star 2's ruins and try to find the Wayfinder. Rey runs into Kylo, and Kylo crushes the Wayfinder. Rey fights Ren and stabs him, heals him, and then travels to Ahch-To Island. Gives up, ungives up, and goes to Exegol. At the same time, the Resistance goes to Exegol. Rey fights the Emperor with Ben, and the Resistance fights the Final Order's destroyers. The Resistance win, and that's the end of the story mode. Free play mode is probably going to be better than story mode, because it doesn't have the same problems that story mode has. In free play mode, they have the galaxy map that can make you hyperspeed over to the other planets, or you can just go into the space around them and fly around. Then you have the character tab, where you can see all the characters. You can also quick select a character from each category. To unlock a character, you do a mission or multiple missions. You either have to search the entire galaxy or buy the rumor, which will tell you where the mission is, roughly. Then after you find the mission giver, you accept it, do it, and then you can buy the character. So it is mostly the same with the ships, except for the capital and microships. Capital ships are earned by fighting the people inside that ship, and then you can buy it. Microships are unlocked by collecting the mini kits and the levels of the story mode. There is an upgrade tab where you can upgrade your fighting or stud counts or other upgrades unlocked by studs and Kyber bricks. The mission tabs show the missions, side missions, puzzles, and trials. The next tab is the story mode episodes, and the next tab after that is a help tab with all of the information you can need to play the game. Overall, I like the free play mode, and it has a lot of replayability. It's really great to get all the characters and ships like the Death Star, and I think that's what saves this game from being bad. But it's also not good. If there was actual stakes, if there was good battles instead of walking, if the story was pretty much the same as the movies, this would have been the best Lego Star Wars game ever. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe or watch another video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!